Don't worry, gentlemen. I got you covered. I decided to dress up a little bit more for this video because I understand that a large portion of my audience is more mature than the rest, a little more sophisticated, a bit more seasoned. Other positive adjectives for old. And with this experience comes differing tastes in fragrances. You don't necessarily want to smell like a kid from high school. You want something a little more classy. So that's why I've prepared a top 10 list of sophisticated signature scents. All of these fragrances can be used year-round, but they're more catered to a more mature wearer. The one and only honorable mention on this list is none other than Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. It's fresh and aquatic and clean, but it has a little bit of an incense nuance to it, which differs it from your standard soapy fragrances. The only reason it just misses this list is because it's so immensely popular, especially amongst the younger crowd. Now, the Eau de Parfum and the new Parfum versions can easily be pulled off by older men, but even those concentrations are worn by a lot of younger dudes out there, so I don't know if you necessarily want to be associated with that crowd. But if you don't care, then why not go for it? At number 10 on this list is Rive Gauche by Yves Saint Laurent. I talk about this fragrance quite a bit because it's so simple in its construction. It is one of the best examples of a simple barbershop fragrance. And what I mean by that is it smells like the inside of a nice barbershop. That shaving cream they would lather you up with and all of the brushed cleaners in the air. Sure, it smells like chemicals, but there's a freshness to it, a familiarity to it. You basically smell like you just had a really fresh haircut. And what's nice about that is you don't smell like you're purposely putting on a Chanel fragrance. It makes you seem a little more casual, a little more low-key. You smell clean, you smell great, you smell masculine, but you're not trying too hard. The only reason it's at number 10 is because if you're looking for a signature fragrance, you maybe want to smell a bit unique. And even though not a lot of people are wearing this fragrance, you won't necessarily smell elevated or elegant because you'll just smell like a barbershop, which is good or it could be bad if you want something a little more self-expressive. And that was Rive Gauche. At number 9 from DUNHILL, we have Icon Elite. Elite is one of 3 flankers to the original Icon. And what I love about it is a woodier variation of the original. The woods you'll find in this are ebony and sandalwood. But there's also some seductive cardamom, a bit of a suede-like leather quality, and the original's nice fresh pepperiness. Why I like Icon Elite more for a more mature man is it's just a little elevated. It's a little more assertive of a fragrance. It's definitely even more masculine than the original. While I'm a huge fan of the original Icon, it is fairly widely available at discounters, but Icon Elite will be different enough that you'll really stand out. The only reason I have this at number 9 is because it's not necessarily an easy fragrance to wear when it's really warm outside. You can apply it pretty lightly and be fine, but just be careful. That being said, Chanel Antaeus and King Kouros used to be signature scents back in the day, so why can't you pull this off? At number 9, DUNHILL Icon Elite. At number 8, we have Dior Homme Eau for Men. This is a fragrance that is perhaps suited for the more artistic man. Not necessarily metrosexual, but because of the iris in this, it's not necessarily your typical peppery, fresh, woody, manly fragrance. It definitely has freshness without being overly citrus, and it performs very well considering how light the accords are. Dior Homme Eau for Men is probably even more versatile than the original because its performance is good enough for the cold weather, but it's still light, so it's not going to just be an overly obnoxious fragrance. There is also a nice level of elegance to it because it's not something you would smell every day, so it can be a signature scent that not a lot of your coworkers, for example, would be wearing, unless they're wearing Prada L'Homme. The reason I have it at number 8 is because it is not a manly fragrance, which is something you might want to wear if you're a more assertive, seasoned man that ain't got no time for them childish games. At number 8, Dior Homme Eau for Men. At number 7, from the house of Tom Ford, Tom Ford for Men. Not a fragrance that gets talked about very much, but Tom Ford for Men reminds me of a 90s fragrance with some modern edge to it. It has a sweet and spicy feel to it, but what it ends up smelling like to me is Jamaican ginger beer. Not necessarily ginger ale, but it's ginger ale with spiciness, with some bite. I like this fragrance a lot because it's fairly unique, and even though it has a definite spicy quality to it, That ginger really incorporates some nice, lovely freshness, which you want in a masculine fragrance as well. I only have it at number 7 because longevity is questionable on this one. When you smell this fragrance, you think it's going to perform all day, but for some reason, I can't really detect it after about 6 hours, which is still decent, but if you're wearing something as a signature scent, you would want it to last all day, and performance hasn't been amazing on my skin. And that was number 7. At number 6, we have Colonia Assoluta from Acqua de Parma. The original Colonia is an absolute classic. It is one of the epitomes of classic masculine perfumery. The only issue is, if you're finding a signature scent, you don't want to go with a classic because it'll be a bit monotonous and predictable. Colonia Assoluta is currently my favorite basic Colonia flanker because it's pretty close to the original, but it's just updated slightly with more added citrus. This is a perfect fragrance for people that appreciate classic men's perfumery, but want something just a little bit updated, a little bit different, something that'll stand out a little bit more than the standard Colonia. There is also Colonia Pura, which is even more modern, more updated, more citrus. But I gravitate towards Assoluta because it still has more of that original Colonia's heart. It's masculine, it has green qualities, it's a little bit spicy, and it is a favorite of mine. However, it just misses the top 5 because Colonia has been around for a century and the sillage isn't that different. So people might think that you're wearing that fragrance. You won't stand out as much as you might like to. At number 6, Colonia Assoluta. Sliding into number 5 from the House of Creed, TABAROME MILLESIME. I'm a big fan of it. I think it is a unique composition and one of the best performing Creed fragrances in my entire collection. It's an interesting take on beautiful fresh tobacco and ginger. It also has some bergamot freshness right off the top, and the dry down has some nice sandalwood woodiness. It's a great combination of very masculine notes, and it's surprisingly a versatile fragrance. One of the huge benefits of using TABAROME MILLESIME is its performance. Longevity is 12 to 14 hours, but the projection on this is phenomenal. I was catching clear whiffs 6 hours after putting this on my skin, and that was only going 3 sprays. Not to start TABAROME batch hype, but this is a 2014 formulation, so it may be a batch type of thing, but I've been so impressed with the performance on this. It's only number 5, however, because TABAROME MILLESIME is a fragrance I could see thriving in the fall and in the spring. It has enough tobacco and enough woods to perform in the winter, and it has some bergamot and ginger to perform in the summer, but it's not going to be optimal for every season. It will work better when it's more mild outside. At number 5, TABAROME MILLESIME. My number 4 sophisticated signature scent is Sacred Wood by Kilian. Sacred Wood is quite possibly the simplest composition in my entire collection. The primary note is sandalwood. This is a sandalwood-based fragrance through and through, with a little side note of creamy milk. If you're familiar with the smell of sandalwood, if you smelled Santal 33 or even Egoiste by Chanel, you know that it is a creamy woodsy smell. It's not abrasive and sharp like a cedar. It's also not heavy like an agarwood. The soft, smooth, creamy nature of sandalwood lends itself really nicely to a milky quality, which is what you get in this. The beautiful aspect of Sacred Wood is how high quality it seems. And because the sandalwood is so authentic, even though it's one note, it goes through all kinds of changes and it evolves from the top to the middle to the base. It does smell like it's composed by a variety of notes, even though it's just sandalwood. What's fantastic about Sacred Wood is its performance. It's also a notorious compliment getter. You really can't go wrong with sandalwood. It is one of the most pleasing notes to smell in the air. Now, the reason I have it at number 4 on this list is just because of its price and its availability. It's a hard fragrance to get, and rumor has it,
oh hell no,
by Kilian stopped producing this. They're just simply selling what they have left. So this may become discontinued at some point, and it may be a lot more expensive to acquire. Number 4, Sacred Wood. My number 3 sophisticated signature scent is Opium pour Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. He's back! If you are an older gentleman, this fragrance is not news to you. Opium pour Homme was a pretty famous fragrance back in the day. It is loaded with beautiful masculine notes. It opens with beautiful black currant and star anise, and there's also some clear spicy pepperiness as well. But as it dries down, it becomes more woody and sweet with vanilla. Really, it's an all-round fragrance that starts off fresh and zesty, but ends up really comforting, really smooth, really seductive. There's nothing about this fragrance that's juvenile. It has a lot of class to it, and it truly is a joy to wear, even to this day. Opium pour Homme, it just has that timeless quality to it. I have it at number 3 though, because this is probably a signature scent for a lot of the older gentlemen out there, and it's not necessarily anything too unique, but I still think it's fantastic, really well done, and definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Opium for homies, at number 3. My number 2 sophisticated signature scent is TERRE by Hermes. This is the original eau de toilette. If you don't know about this fragrance, it's kind of a funny one, because when you first smell it, maybe a little bit off-putting. You expect it to be a nice orange heavy fragrance, which it is, but it's orange combined with vetiver, and it gives this earthy, slightly off-putting citrus accord that may make it seem like the oranges are a bit rotten. If you do get that vibe, I encourage you to give this a few more wearings, because if it doesn't blow you away in the beginning, it'll grow on you the more you wear it. And the reason for that is you'll start getting compliments. TERRE d'Hermes has one of the best sillages, or the best scent clouds in the designer world. It really, really suits a more mature man because it's not a basic soapy fragrance. It has a lot of character to it. It's really, really rich, but it's still versatile because it's citrus based, but it's earthy. So it does work in the warm, cold weather. It doesn't really have any polarizing qualities, especially at an arm's length. Maybe if you smelt it up close, it could be a bit strange to certain people, but 90% of the time, it's an amazing smell and it really just does the job. It is a modern classic for a reason, so give it a shot. The reason it's not number 1 though is because there's just one that's a bit better. And number 2, TERRE d'Hermes. And finally, my number 1 sophisticated signature scent is Chanel's Platinum Egoiste. This fragrance is the epitome of a modern gentleman. Although it's a bit aromatic with its floral components and its greenness, it is no holds barred masculinity. Lavender is the prime note here, which is a fantastic masculine floral. It's grounded with some geranium earthiness, and it's carried by clary sage and oak moss. A lot of staple green notes in masculine perfumery. Platinum Egoiste got its name because it does smell a little bit metallic. The blend on this is phenomenal. And this fragrance continues to be the one fragrance I'll always recommend people get their dads if they want to be cool and have a cool fragrance. And it's worked every single time. It's just a phenomenal fragrance that's unbelievably versatile, and considering how fresh it is, lasts the entire day. One of the best performing fresh fragrances in my collection as well. I can't say enough good things about Platinum Egoiste, guys. If you haven't tried this and you want a signature scent that you know will just do the job, check this one out yesterday. At number 1, Platinum Egoiste. All right, gentlemen, there you go. There you have it. Some suggestions for some signature scents that you can just reach for every day and not even have to think about. Now, of course, age ain't nothing but a number, so if you want to wear Invictus all day, every day, by all means. I mean, if you want to be really basic, then you just wear this. Just soap, clean. But these are pretty decent recommendations, in my opinion, for you. But you may disagree. In fact, you probably will. But I have my opinion. You get your own. If you want to check out more top 10s, you can click on this box here. If you want to check out some of my old top 5s, click that box down there. And there's some more stuff on my channel that you can watch if you have time. Peace.